What's up, everybody? Welcome to another edition of High Mythology, the show where we get higher than... You know what? I'm just going to do it because we're doing this. We get higher than the wild hunt riding across the night sky in the middle of winter. On the key strings, joining us tonight, we have still Jeff. Rocking some guitar.
Nice. Welcome.
Yeah.
So today we're smoking some Milky Way.
Milky Way. I'm still hitting that East Coast diesel. I got a little stash of that. That's my go weed.
That's the only way to get you to do anything.
I know.
It's the first time in a long time.
It's like if you've heard the expression dick in the dirt weed, it's dick out of the dirt weed. It's like dick in the work pants weed.
Yeah, it's perfect for you.
So yeah, tonight we are going to be talking about the wild hunt. The wild hunt is actually, it's crazy how much it's kind of perpetuated throughout all of Europe.
Okay.
There's like a ton of different versions. It seems like it took over most of Europe. And is somewhat associated with the holidays, and in some legends is associated with Yule and the holidays, but mainly, primarily it's just a winter thing.
Okay.
Yeah. Not a fear the cold.
Of course, because mankind fears the cold.
Fuck yeah, it gets cold out here.
It does. Yeah. How fitting.
Yeah.
And it's the perfect time, too.
Yeah. So... without further ado, I'm gonna go ahead and rock this. Also, on this Saturday short, I am also telling the story again, so,
yeah, Dustin took over for the week.
Buckle up, buckaroos. Gave the wife a week off of writing.
Thank you.
Yeah. When the snows fall deep and the cold wind howls, beware the wild hunt. Yes, lest ye be scooped up to become part of their ghostly host.
So they just literally come down and scoop up
they'll scoop up
innocent people?
They'll scoop up all people, yeah.
Interesting.
So in folklore, so this is the folklore version. In folklore, spread throughout most of ancient Europe, it is said that during the darkest part of the year...
December 21st.
Well, it's pretty much the whole December... through January.
Okay.
Early December through early January.
Okay.
The hunt rides through the sky, collecting wayward souls. It was said if you were outside when the hunt passed, you could be sucked into their deadly host and forced to hunt with them. Yeah. But the interesting thing, too, is basically you die, but you get sucked into the wild hunt. So if you're a hunter, it's not the worst thing for you. Mm-hmm. But, yeah.
I guess, yeah.
Sometimes even abandoning your body. Other times taking your body with you and ending up miles from where you had started, alone in the cold and desolation.
Oh, shit.
So
do you think that's what's happening to the disappearances of, like,
Oh,
Bigfoot?
my God. They're getting caught missing 411. They're getting scooped up into the wild hunt.
Oh, my God. They're taking children, too.
Mm-hmm.
And they even mentioned that it's mainly of Celtic descendants that are getting taken. So yeah. Interesting.
The wild hunt has come in many different forms and iterations over the years. Mm-hmm. Originally believed to be a Norse or Celtic myth, both have kind of their own versions of the wild hunt.
Okay.
That seem to spawn about the same time.
Okay.
Depending on... the hunt consists of a host or an army of hunters, typically anywhere from 20 to 100 riding with them. And they're being led by a hero, a god, or a ghastly apparition, which would be like a Krampus or a monster of some sort that leads them. Or, the Headless Horseman would be an example of like a bad wild hunt.
Okay.
Depending on the time, and the region, the leader and the host varied drastically. So all across Europe, it was completely different. Like, everyone had their own different wild hunts, like who was in it, who's fucking leading it.
Okay. Yeah, that's very Celtic.
Yeah. Yeah, very Celtic.
That's very Celtic of them.
And very much, like, even spread, and we'll talk about that a little bit later on, but it even spread post-Christianity and stuff like that. So it was even, like, the different churches had their own different versions of the hunt.
That's fucking amazing.
So
yes,
the Catholics would have their hunt. The Lutherans would be like, no, Martin Luther was leading the hunt, and behind him was Jesus and Abel. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But so, the old version, the original Norse and Germanic Norse myths that spawned the hunt actually seem to be a positive thing.
Okay.
The hunt was tied to Yule and led by Odin, or Wodan, in Germany with his wife, Berchta, by his side. Berchta, we had talked about in our previous episode, who had later got turned into a whole witch of a monster. But Berchta was also sometimes not at his side. She was sometimes ahead of him leading the hunt.
Well, fuck yeah.
With him behind her at her side. And
she's got a lot more energy.
Yeah. And if you listen, if you listen to our Berchta or our Anti-Claus episode, Berchta or Perchta will sound very familiar. Because before being a horrific creature, she was a German goddess. And those lost
a badass at that.
A badass at that, yeah. Strong, powerful female goddess, which is kind of a sign of why she got turned into a witch later on. Cause,
makes sense.
Yeah, she was a symbol that, ladies can lead the hunt too. When a lot of the culture at that time was like, women can't hunt.
Mm-hmm. Women can't do anything.
No, I'll fucking lead the hunt. Yeah.
Well, it's very Norse, because Norse was very gender neutral.
Yeah.
They were chill.
Oh, yeah, they were. Those lost to the hunt were said to have joined the gods, and thus ended up in Valhalla.
Nice.
So if you got lost on the hunt, it wasn't as much of one where it's like, they stole your soul away. It's like, no, you're literally so cool that the gods invited you on their great fucking hunt in the sky.
Yeah.
And
dope.
Obviously you're not going to come back to your body after hunting with the gods. You're going to go to fucking Valhalla.
That's what you're talking about. Holy shit.
Yeah, you get a free pass to Valhalla.
This just blew my mind what your wild hunt was, because I was reading somewhere in like my Norse book that like the whole reason all these gods have all their own halls and they're all filled is so they can all go out on the great hunt. I'm like, that sounds interesting. I wonder when that's going to happen. I hope it's in the book. The
wild hunt is the great hunt.
I didn't know that.
They're both
it just
the same,
fucking dawned on me, and I was like, holy shit. You mean all the realms with all of their fucking domains? Even Hell's domain has her own fucking little place, and they all come up and rise up and do Ragnarok.
They all come up, yeah, and not even just for the wild hunt. They all come up. There's elves, there's dwarves. Oh.
Well, yeah, because all of them have their own fucking realms and their own cathedrals and shit.
Yeah, so you have elves, dwarves, all of those things.
Holy shit.
And a lot of people have theorized that part of the reason the myth was created was a way to honor those who died of natural causes during the deep, deep parts of the winter.
Oh, so like the Day of the Dead, almost.
Yeah, basically, the idea is like saying,
your warriors.
Like, say I went out to get wood or to go hunting.
Okay.
And I didn't come back. It would be more honorable for you to say, like, my husband's such a badass that he's fucking riding out in a hunt with Odin. And, he's lost to the gods and he went to go to Valhalla. Yeah, it sounds way better than, like, he got too drunk, lost his way in the forest, and he fucking froze to death in a ditch.
Aww.
Yeah. And the host was comprised of Norse gods, elves, dwarves, other mythical creatures, and most of, from our Norse mythology episodes, all of their badass animals were there.
God, sometimes
so like
women are
Fenrir,
just too nice to
Fenrir would ride in the hunt.
Nice.
Fucking Odin rode on Sleipnir.
ghost would be hanging out next to me.
Mm-hmm. Yep. All their animals came with them.
Dope.
And they would ride around because it was Yule time. And Odin was master of Yule. That was actually part of his title, was Master of Yule, basically like old Santa Claus.
Yeah, he's got like a million different titles.
So they would ride around and accept blessings and signal the end of the darkest part of the year. And it was such a cool thing for them to be part of the hunt that berserkers and shamans would all fucking during the hunt time, when the storms would come, they would all hunker down, drink tons of fucking mushroom tea, and try to astral project and spiritually join the hunt. And that's where a lot of the hunt stories came from, which is why they all get so wild and vary differently, because a lot of them came from berserkers and whatnot, who would induce that trance-like state to go and join the hunt.
Interesting.
And they would come back and tell about riding with Odin, and your brother Froth was there, and his beard was huge, and he had a battle axe, and just start naming different people that that died. Ragnar was fucking leading the charge this time,
Jesus.
and and so it just get different and more crazy as it went.
There goes Kurt Cobain.
Here comes Kurt Cobain.
He's got some needles in his hands. Looks like he's gonna shoot him out like darts.
Yeah. Nice guitar.
Guitar, nice.
So now the story begins to switch.
Okay.
We hit post-Christianity.
Okay.
So after Christianity swept across Europe, the wild hunt went through a drastic change.
Of course it did.
Birchta was transformed into an evil witch named Perchta.
Right.
And the host was completely replaced.
Oh.
With ghastly apparitions. The elves were all made evil. They were all turned into basically like corrupt, nasty, vile tricksters.
Wow.
Demons and hellhounds were thrown into the mix to replace a lot of the Norse animals.
Fenrir.
Yeah. So Fenrir was basically turned into a hellhound and added more hellhounds. And then the Krampus-like creatures came in, which were, I think they were called Perchtae. But they were kind of a similar creature to a Krampus, but they were like the servants of Perchta.
That's funny because like those little Krampus creatures, those are the shit that hangs out with Nihog at the bottom of Yggdrasil.
Yep, and that's
like
exactly what they are.
Thing.
That's exactly the creature that it came from.
Interesting.
Because it was a way to demonize. Basically, you see that transformation because they're demonizing all of these characters that are associated with mythology. So they're taking any character they can and throwing it into it. Because if they label the wild hunt bad and they transform Birchta, then from there, they can just throw whoever they want in the wild hunt like everyone else did.
Yeah.
But it's no longer a good thing to be in the wild hunt. It's no longer like
an honor.
Honorable people. It's like dishonorable people are thrown into the wild hunt.
Like evil fucks.
Evil souls are leading the hunt. And part of their host isn't even helping in the hunt. They're being dragged, basically, to the underworld.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, and it takes a whole
Dark
twist.
route.
And interestingly enough, because of the way Odin was kind of merged into God...
Okay.
With the way they made the people in that region perceive Christianity, Odin is completely removed from the hunt, just gone instantly, and all of a sudden it's full of monsters and all these other things, and certain things like Odin and his Valkyries, who were also part of the traditional hunt, were removed and merged in with Christianity to kind of help form the so-called face of God or the perception of angels. Yeah, which is kind of a crazy trick that came from them. But yeah, so they're no longer there to accept praise. Now they flew through the sky, punishing sinners and stealing wayward souls to drag back to hell. So if you were out
That's
in the
so
woods because you were too curious or whatnot, the idea was that you were a wayward soul, you were up to no good, you're not
Curiosity
working.
kills.
You know, they're going to come and steal
Even the
you.
Greeks know that.
Yeah. Yeah, and even another funny thing is also they mentioned in there that parts of Odin from the myth, the Yule Master parts, were also merged into St. Nicholas to help create the character Santa Claus.
Right, big gray beard, gray bush.
Yeah.
Jolly.
Flying stags, things like that, yeah.
Well, no, he rode the 8-legged horse.
Yeah. Well, he rode the 8-legged horse, but they had stags in the hunt also.
Sleipnir.
They had big stags in the hunt.
Yeah, Odin likes to hunt deer.
He does. Yeah. It's good eating. But yeah, during these times, the fear of the hunt got so bad that not only would people lock themselves in their houses, they would completely refuse to go outside during the later times of like the holiday season.
Well, if you don't need to go outside, then
so basically, from December 6th to January 6th, the idea was that you stayed locked in your house.
Jesus.
Only left when it's necessary,
to piss and
lest
shit.
the fucking hunt come and steal you because you're a wayward soul and drag you back to hell.
Wow.
Yeah. Yeah, and they were like, and it was some of the stuff that they mentioned too was like people were legitimately like, there's whole towns that would do that during the wintertime, whole communities, because it was that big of a fear.
Everybody get inside your grain silos.
Yeah.
Bring the cows inside. Bring the chickens.
Yeah, bring the chickens.
And the horses. And the goats and the pigs. Get everything you can. Don't go outside.
Don't go outside, lest the hunt carry you away. And that's where that first part came from, too. That whole dark thing that I read, that was like actually some old shit that they used to push around back then. Was like,
things were not happy back then. A lot of death is associated with winter.
Well, part of that, too, the making it a thing you don't want to be part of and scaring people was also possibly believed to be a fear tactic designed to prevent people from wandering off and freezing to death. Basically going the opposite direction of the way the Norse went, where they're like, those who wandered off went with the hunt and they should be honored. They're like, no, you should be terrified and you shouldn't fucking wander off.
Yeah, a bear could get you. Haven't you seen season 4 of fucking Vikings when Bjorn finds a fucking bear?
Yeah, shit can happen.
Sorry, that was the most weirdest fucking random.
Yeah.
That's what it reminded me of. I'm like, oh shit, that's like if he went off there and found that fucking shit.
All right. Revival.
Oh?
Fuck yeah, Keytar. After centuries of being the boogeyman, and I think time-wise, we're literally talking like 600 years, something like that, of them being the big bad boogeymen, the Wild Hunt went through a sort of revival. Partially thanks to a pair of 12th century British clerics. Of all people, it turned out to be the church who seemed to start the change. They claimed to have actually witnessed the hunt. These two clerics claimed to watch it go on for 9 weeks straight. Every night the hunt would ride across the sky with a host of 20 to 30. And unlike most before who had described the host, like in the Christian text had described the host as, ghostly and diabolical, they described it as a benevolent gang of heroes. And this description took off. The leaders of the hunt went from witches and monsters to folk heroes and legends, or good men stuck in the hunt unwillingly due to circumstances, but still they honorably lead it on for eternity. The story spread all throughout Europe, with different countries and provinces stocking the host with their own heroes.
I bet you they weren't really clerics. I bet you they were like Norsemen in disguise, or like, let's fuck with these people.
That's what I wonder too. Or if they were clerics and they actually went up to live in Norway, and the Vikings were like, well, if you want to see the fucking wild hunt, you just have to eat that. That's what the berserkers always did. And they're like, okay, we'll spend 9 weeks eating some of this every night when the sun goes down. Handfuls of mushrooms.
This is what you see.
Oh my god, look at the stars.
There's my father.
Yeah.
There's Jesus.
It's Robin Hood.
It's Mother Mary.
Mother Mary. What are you doing, Mother Mary?
Her skirt's too short.
Yeah. Well, that's actually one funny thing that you do notice in the big switch up with the Christian versions of it, where they start incorporating all the folk heroes and stuff, is that unlike the old versions, where female gods or goddesses were all throughout the hunt, and Birch to even led it, you pretty much, on the revival, you never see women in the hunt again. I think I did see one picture that someone had done where Joan of Arc was in it, and where there were a couple of women in it. But it was kind of a cool picture because they had done it. It was a newer picture, like someone drew in 2011. So they had like tons of people there. They had like
back in the day.
They had like fucking James Dean, I think, was in it. Like all kinds of different people riding.
Dope.
Yeah. But yeah. So in England, you would hear of Arthur, King Arthur, leading the hunt, with his knights following behind. And behind them would typically be local heroes, local folk legends. Anything from around your area would get filled in behind King Arthur.
Interesting.
So everyone would identify with the same myth of like, oh no, King Arthur, yeah, and the knights are definitely, they're up there, their souls are leading the wild hunt through heaven. And I know that too, because my uncle was there. You know, in your town, your uncle was there, but in my town, my uncle was there, and my dad. So, you know, I'm cool with it.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, but yeah, just that kind of stuff. One version had Charlemagne leading.
Who's that?
He's an old, I think he was a pope.
Oh.
Yeah, and he was leading the charge with a bunch of other bishops and
was he in a wheelchair?
No, he's on a horse, yeah. Yeah, one other version had Frederick Barbarossa, the Holy Roman Emperor of the time, with a host of angels and holy men. So he had behind his back, he had angels with flaming swords and holy men, yeah. Some cultures even used it as a way to honor the dead, having the host be comprised of people who had all passed over the previous year or years. So anyone famous who would have gone down, that's how you would honor them at the end of the year. Almost like Day of the Dead.
So I can't just leave wine and cake out?
No. Yeah. But that's where it gets to, like you were saying, like the Mexican Day of the Dead. That's where the similarities come there, because people would kind of save that up all year. And then when the wild hunt would come, they would all get together, have a festival thing, have dinner, and talk about who's in the hunt and how they're, you know, they're riding for God and this and that. Yeah, in most places, it had come back around. Oh, it had come back around now, again, about honoring the dead, or a heaven for those that love to hunt. One such story is that of Hans von Hackeldberg.
There's always a fucking Hans, dude.
Hans was an avid hunter and loved nothing more. On one hunt, he slayed a massive boar. However, he cut his foot on the tusk, and it got infected.
Oh.
Yeah. On his deathbed, Hans declared that he did not want to go to heaven. Instead, he wanted to hunt for eternity. And upon his death, his wish was granted. His soul went up to lead the hunt for eternity. And the funny thing about him is some historians point out that his name is most likely a corruption of one of Odin's other names.
Oh.
So someone took one of Odin's other names and switched it around to make his last name.
Hans.
No, Hackeldberg, or whatever it was.
Hackeldberg.
But it said, yeah, it's most likely. So it was most likely as a way for them to, like, completely turn Odin into a regular guy. Yeah. Yeah, it's crazy stuff.
Because, I mean, he's got another name like Heimel.
Mm-hmm.
And Wednesday.
He's got
a shit ton of names.
Yeah. And then, now to round it back, because I mentioned it in the beginning, the Celtics.
Oh,
now
the Celtics.
The Celtic world perception, at least the Scottish and Irish, but mainly Scottish side, had a whole different perception of the hunt. The hunt was never, at any point in their mythology, a source for good. In Scottish myth, the hunt was linked closely to the world of the Fae, or fairies.
Mm-hmm.
Evil fairies were said to have been cast out from the Unsullied Court, or Fairy Court.
Oh.
So basically, the Fairy Court would deem them bad and cast them out, and they would ride throughout the fucking side. The bad fairies would fly in from the west, specifically, and capture the souls of the sick or dying.
Wow.
As much as even, like, they were saying, some of them were as superstitious as saying, like, they could catch you even from just a cough. Even if you just coughed because you had something in your throat.
No,
they
could
use that
for
opportunity to catch you and take your soul. And then you die,
so
yeah.
Much. Fuck.
But also, these are olden days, you know. So that's probably true, yeah. In Scotland, fear of the hunt lasted all the way into the 20th century.
Jesus.
And got so bad that people were regularly boarding up doors and windows on their west side of their house if someone was sick.
What?
Yeah.
Fuck.
So if anyone had gotten sick or anything like that, you would, and it was the wintertime, you'd board up the west side of your house.
That's so fucking weird.
Yeah. Which I do wonder, I don't know about enough about history or geography, but I do have the serious wonder about that, if, like, the cold wind typically comes from the west in Scotland. Because if it does, then that would make totally sense. Like, he's got a cold, you need to board up the west side of your house, or he's gonna fucking freeze to death.
Probably. Mm-hmm. The way the wind currents go, yeah. Wind current goes around the world as we go.
Yeah.
It travels with the sun.
Yeah. True.
No, I lied.
You totally pulled shit out of your ass. And I just gave you that one. I didn't want to call you out on air, but now that you said it.
Whatever. You were actually sitting there thinking about it for a second, though.
Yeah. So, yeah, in modern times, paganism in some form has actually researched and reinvented the hunt. And it's funny, too, because a lot of these, from what I could see at least, a lot of it looked like kind of fucking metalheads. But they turned into a cause to reconnect with the nature. Basically like a fucking super nature run. And so, yeah, people
Naked
in parts of Europe, there are wild hunt festivals where people get together and they run through the woods. Yeah, some of them fucking naked, some of them just wearing whatever they want. Just fucking...
No,
wild through the woods.
Like the show Naked and Afraid.
Yeah, like the show. Except for Naked and Wild, howling and shit like that.
Okay.
Sounds like actually a pretty cool event.
I wouldn't want to go.
You wouldn't want to go.
No.
Yeah. I mean, just the running wild through the woods howling sounds fun. I don't know if I need to go all the way
but I'm
to...
going to trip and then hit my head.
I don't know if I need to do it in a festival. I could kind of do that on my own time and be fine. Lone
Plus,
wolf.
I don't think I can run. It seems like an exhausting amount of work.
Yeah. Is there a wild jog?
A light jog? Maybe a speed walk?
Speed walk, yeah. So now I'm going to put the question out to both of you and myself, and then out to all of our listeners after that. But my question is, what 5 people do you think are in the wild hunt this year, and who is leading the hunt? Kimbo, you take it first.
Okay, so I'm thinking right-hand man, second in command. Michael Clark Duncan. Yep. Behind him, Heath Ledger.
Oh shit.
That's a pretty good one.
Behind him, Paul Walker.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. You sure he's not in the front? Too Fast, Too Furious?
No. He's taking it easy. He's letting up on the brakes now, but he's fine. And I'm going to say my wild card is Princess Diana.
Oh.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Should I get a little crazy with the car? And then the leader, Bruce Lee.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you.
Leading
Thank
that
you.
hunt.
Thank
Okay, Jeff, I'm going to pass it off to you.
All right, thanks, Dusty. Let me think here. On the spot, you already stole one of mine for sure. I was thinking Bruce Lee, but not as the
shit.
leader. You know, I was like, fuck. Bruce Lee would be awesome, like in your follow through, like your backup guy.
Yeah.
Along with I don't know his whole name, but Zeus, who just passed away, who was like in the Friday movies, and was the wrestler as well.
Oh, yeah.
Debo, that's right, Debo. I want him in my freaking crew right there. You know.
Nice.
Earlier, when we were halfway thinking about the idea, was another one was stolen as well. That was James Dean. I thought he'd be kind of fun to roll with in the afterlife, you know.
That's not my fault. That's a famous painting.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I'll take James Dean for sure.
For sure.
The fourth, gotta have the Duke in there. You know, John Wayne rolling with you as well, just like your fourth homie. But to lead them all, how about this for a curve? How about some fucking JFK action to lead them?
Oh, man. I was actually thinking about that. Oh, shit.
Yeah, I think that'd be a lot of fun.
I was going to say it was going to be a duo combo, him and Marilyn Monroe.
Nice.
She's throwing pills at them. He's trying to help clean up everyone.
That'd work.
That'd be a
Good pulls, Jeff. Good pulls. Okay, so I'm going to have to go. I'm going to start it. I'm going to do the opposite of you, Kim.
Oh.
I'm going to start off at the front of the line, leading the charge, and then go back.
Okay.
So leading the charge, and I've been thinking about this all episode because I've got 3 people I want to lead the charge, so I'm going to have 2 close seconds. But I have to put it I just have to put it down because she's been leading the charge on so many things for so many years. You know she's not going to take second place. RBG, Ruth Bader Ginsburg, putting her right out front.
Perfect. Yes.
Big old fucking 2-handed gavel.
Nice. She has her own fucking Mjolnir.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Odin's already given her one.
Yeah.
It freely goes to her.
Yeah. It goes to justice.
She lifts it with such ease. She says it's like writing with a pen.
Yeah. Close.
Nice.
Close. Like super close. Right on her tail. Chadwick Boseman on the right.
Nice.
Black Panther in there.
Nice.
Yeah. And on the left-hand side, because you know he's got to be in this. He's already played probably like 3 dudes who were in the Wild Hunt. Sean Connery.
Oh, nice. You're going to have him.
There you go.
Dang, you're using like fucking people who have actually
Those 3
died.
are pretty recent. Yeah, but I'm about to go back here. I'm about to go back because there's two that are coming in the back, and they're both going to be carrying axes. And they're going to wield them slightly differently, but it's going to motivate the other 2. I'm going to have on the left Dimebag Daryl from Pantera.
Oh, nice.
And on the right, Prince.
Nice.
Yes, and those 2 are just going to be shredding. They won't even need to fight. It's going to pump Connery up so much. And we're talking I want Bond Connery with old Connery's anger and knowledge.
Nice.
Yeah.
What a combo.
Yeah. No one gonna stop him and Chadwick.
The best they could
Ruth
give
Bader
you
up
was,
there too. Yeah.
The best they could give you was when he was in League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Oh, I'd take Highlander.
That was his last one. After that, he refused to film anymore, I believe, Sean Connery.
Yeah, that was one of his last, yeah.
I think it was
his last. It was his last, yeah. What an extraordinary gentleman.
After that, he just walked away.
Yeah.
Oh. I had no idea. I just thought he was in other shit that I didn't see, like dramas and shit.
Yeah.
I was like,
Well, hope you folks have enjoyed this. Before I give you our sources, I'm going to put that question out to you. In the comments, let us know your answer. Who are the 5 people that you think are in the Wild Hunt this year, and who is leading the charge? Our sources for this episode, mythology.com. We've used them for a few things, and they're pretty awesome. And history.com. So, yeah. History and mythology. Who would have thought? As always, like and subscribe. Let us know what you think.
Yeah.
And tell us who's going to be in the hunt.
Yeah.
Big thank you to Still Jeff over there. Great list.
Thanks for having me back.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Great guitar. Great keytar. Reminds me of reminds me so much of the Highlander movie.
Cool. That's probably what listed you for Sean Connery.
Yeah, exactly. That's what pushed him way up. He might have been 3rd or 4th, but he got pushed way up the list. Well,
nice.
Yeah. Good night, everybody.
Night.
Good night.
Thank you.